The desert was quiet. No people, no cars, just hot wind and dry sand. The sun was high in the sky, burning everything below. Lizards ran between small rocks. A few birds flew high, looking for food. Everything seemed normal. Then the sky tore open. It started with a loud crack, like thunder but sharper. A strange object appeared in the sky. It was not a plane. It was not a satellite. It was something else. It moved fast, like fire cutting the air. Red flames burned around it. The object screamed through the sky, heading straight toward the ground, and then it crashed. The earth shook. Sand flew into the air like a wave. A giant dust cloud rose into the sky. Animals ran in fear. A deep crater formed where the object had hit. From far away, satellites picked up the signal. Within minutes, military teams started moving. They didn't say what it was, but they told everyone, stay away. Just space debris, they said on TV. No danger to the public, but not everyone believed that. Dr. Amina Khan was watching the crash on her laptop. She was a space researcher, young but smart. She worked at a small university in Australia. She zoomed in on the satellite images. "This is not junk," she whispered. "That heat trail, that energy pulse." She packed her things quickly. She didn't wait for permission. She knew the crash site was in the middle of the Great Victoria Desert, far, hot, and dangerous. But she had to see it. It took Amina 10 hours to reach the edge of the military zone. She hid her car behind some rocks and walked the last 2 kilometers. The air was dry. Her skin burned under the sun. But she didn't stop. Finally, she saw it, a large black crater, still smoking. Around it, trucks and soldiers. Some wore hazmat suits. Big machines were moving sand away. But the object itself, they had covered it with a thick black tarp. Amina took out her binoculars. She watched as one soldier stepped too close to the object. The tarp moved. The soldier fell back, yelling. Medics rushed in. Then Amina saw something impossible. The tarp was not a tarp. It was part of the object, alive and breathing. Her heart raced. She had seen alien designs before, in ancient symbols and space theories. But nothing like this. This was real. At night, the soldiers camped around the crash. They blocked all roads. Helicopters circled overhead. But Amina had hidden well. She waited in silence. Just after midnight, the ground shook again, not from above, from below. The sand near the crater began to crack. A strange sound came from beneath, like metal grinding against stone. And then something crawled out. A figure. It was not human. It was tall, thin, and glowing slightly blue. Its skin looked like soft armor. One arm was missing. It limped away from the crater, breathing heavily. None of the soldiers saw it, but Amina did. She crawled closer. The alien fell to its knees. It looked weak, hurt. Amina wanted to help, but she was afraid. Then, the alien looked at her. Its eyes were black and deep. It spoke in a voice like wind through a cave. "Don't wake it. Don't dig. Let it sleep." Then it collapsed. Amina's hands shook. She didn't understand. What was it? What should not be woken? She reached out, but the alien's body was cold. It was already dead, or gone. Suddenly, lights turned on. Soldiers shouted. Dogs barked. Someone had seen her. Amina ran. She made it to her car just in time. She drove through the dark desert, heart pounding, headlights off. Behind her, helicopters searched the area. But she was gone. Back in her lab, she uploaded the images she had taken. Zoomed in. The object was no simple ship. It had strange shapes and sharp edges, like it was not made by hands. The energy readings were too high. And the alien's last. Words repeated in her mind. "Don't wake it. Don't dig." She checked recent seismic activity in the area. To her horror, she saw something strange. The crash had not only shaken the ground, it had activated something deep under the desert. A large underground structure miles wide was waking up, and it had been sleeping for thousands of years. Somewhere beneath the desert, something moved. A slow, deep rumble echoed underground. And, in space far above Earth, a signal was sent, not from Earth but to Earth. Someone, or something, was coming. The next morning, the military had full control of the crash site. No one could get close. Drones flew overhead, roads were blocked, satellite signals were jammed. News channels had stopped reporting. The world had moved on, but Amina had not. She stayed up all night studying the energy readings. Something had changed under the desert. Seismic waves showed that something huge, something buried, was beginning to move. Not from the crash, but from underneath it. She was not the only one who noticed. At a military base 200 miles away, Colonel Hayes was looking at the same data. He was a quiet man, always serious. He had seen many strange things in his career, but this was different. "Bring in the deep scanners," he ordered. "And dig deeper. I want to know what's under that crater." His team got to work. Within hours, they sent machines to drill under the impact site. But they didn't have to drill far. Just 20 meters below the surface, they hit something hard. It wasn't rock, it was metal. But not any metal they had seen. It was smooth, dark, and warm to the touch. When the team touched it, the metal reacted like it was alive. Strange symbols lit up across its surface. Amina watched from a hill using her long-range scope. She saw the machines stop. She saw soldiers step back. And then she saw them uncover a massive round door. Her hands trembled. She didn't know how, but she knew what it was. A vault, a prison, and someone was trying to open it. That night, the door opened. A hiss of gas came out. Lights flickered inside. The chamber below was massive, larger than a football field. Inside were strange pillars, walls full of alien writing, and broken control panels. And in the center, a second door, older, covered in dust and strange carvings. The soldiers entered slowly. A few of them were scientists. They recorded everything. Some of the carvings showed a star map. Some showed a war. Others showed something terrifying. One image showed a figure made of light and fire, consuming planets, killing stars. And written in alien script next to it, "Do not open. Let it sleep." Colonel Hayes looked at the wall, then turned to his team. "We go further. Carefully." His men nodded. They brought in scanners and began testing the second door, but suddenly the machines shut off. The power died. Then the lights flickered back on, but dimmer, and the second door opened by itself. Inside, they found a narrow hallway leading to a cold, dark room. And in that room were pods, dozens of them. Large, glass-covered pods with strange shapes inside. Creatures. Alien creatures, all asleep. All frozen in time. Most of them looked dead, but one pod was empty, and one control panel was broken as if something had escaped recently. Amina zoomed in from the hilltop and took photos. She could barely breathe. She now knew the truth. The alien ship hadn't just crashed, it had come here on purpose. It was trying to stop something from being found. It failed. Back at the vault, one of the scientists tried to touch the empty pod. That's when it happened. A loud, sharp sound filled the room. Lights turned red. Doors slammed shut. Symbols began flashing. One soldier screamed. His eyes turned black. He dropped his weapon and started repeating strange words in an alien language. Then he stopped breathing and collapsed. The team carried him out. But he was already gone, and something else had entered the vault. Above ground, the sand moved again. A deep vibration spread out in all directions, like a warning. Birds flew away. Insects disappeared. Even the wind seemed to stop. Far underground, something woke up. Not fully, but enough to feel the air, to sense the mines above. It was hungry. It had waited a long, long time. Amina ran back to her car. She uploaded the photos to her secret network. She wrote down everything she saw. And she made one note at the top of the page. They found the door. The vault is open. One pod is missing. The weapon is not gone. It's awake. In space, far beyond Mars, a listening station picked up a signal from Earth. The alien code was clear. Vault 9 breached. Species 0X active. Immediate response required. A massive alien fleet began to move. Hundreds of ships, thousands of soldiers, all heading toward Earth, not to help, to destroy. The underground vault was colder now, even though the machines were dead and the air was still. A strange chill covered everything. The walls were breathing, soft pulses of light moving like veins. The soldiers didn't notice. But the scientists did. Something had changed, and it was watching them. Colonel Hayes stood near the center of the room, staring at the empty pod. This pod was holding something important, he said. We need answers, fast. Dr. Lin, the lead scientist, looked nervous. This vault, it's not just a tomb, it's a memory. A prison built by someone, something not from Earth. She pointed at the wall carvings. Strange shapes danced along the stone. Some were stars, others were ships. Then, a dark figure with long arms and no face, spreading across planets. Below it, in glowing alien text, she translated, Species 0X. Origin, unknown. Threat level, extinction. Amina was still watching everything from afar. Her camera feed showed the vault glowing more with each hour. Her software translated some of the alien writing using old linguistics code. That's when she read something that made her freeze. Vault 9 Human Sector. This was not an alien prison. It was Earth's, and it was labeled Sector 9, which meant there were other vaults, maybe on other planets, or worse, other vaults on Earth. Back in the vault, a deeper door opened. Inside was a strange room with high walls full of echoing sounds even though no one spoke. The air was thick like smoke, but it didn't burn. It whispered, whispers in many languages, English, Russian, Arabic, Chinese, and some languages not from Earth. The soldiers looked around, weapons ready. Dr. Lin touched a panel on the wall. A bright light flashed, and a hologram appeared. It showed a galaxy full of war, aliens fighting aliens, ships falling, entire planets burning. And in the center of it all, a creature made of light, fire, and shadows. It was alone, but it was winning. No one could stop it, until one race, the archivists, built the vaults. They did not kill the creature. They locked it into part and placed the pieces on different worlds. But one piece escaped. The mind. Dr. Lin turned to Colonel Hayes. The mind escaped and hid, and they believed it became something else. Became what? Hayes asked. Dr. Lin looked scared now. It became us. Amina's computer beeped. Her system detected something under the crash site. A massive power source had started deep below the vault, something ancient and artificial. She opened seismic scans again. There wasn't just one vault. There were at least 4 others buried across the Earth, one in Antarctica, one in the Amazon, one under the Pacific Ocean, and the 4th, under Moscow. Each was quiet. For now, inside Vault 9, a scream broke the silence. One of the soldiers had wandered off. When they found him, his eyes were white. His body was shaking. He pointed to the wall, whispering, "It's in the echoes. It's watching." Then he stopped moving. Cold. Dead. But his voice continued, coming from the wall. "Why did you come back?" the voice said. The wall pulsed. The lights turned red. A deep sound came from below the floor. A heavy thud, like something big, walking. Colonel Hayes yelled, "Everyone out, now!" The soldiers started retreating, but the vault was not letting them go. The door at the top slammed shut. One man tried to climb, but was pulled back by an unseen force. The lights flickered. The whispers grew louder. One word repeated again and again. "Welcome back. Welcome back." Far away on the moon, A secret human base picked up a transmission from Vault 9. The commander there listened to the alien words. He turned pale. He sent one message to Earth's top command. We did not evolve. We were made. Amina sat in silence. She stared at the message from the vault recorded by a hacked satellite feed. She finally said out loud, "We are the weapon, and that's why the stars were afraid. Not because we were weak, but because we were forgotten, and, now, we were awake." Above Earth, the alien fleet grew closer. Inside the lead ship, an old creature looked down at our planet. It had many eyes. Its skin looked like glass. It whispered in its language. "Species 0X has broken containment." Another alien spoke. "Should we warn them?" The leader shook its head. No. They had their chance. This time, we end Earth, for good. But Earth was listening, and Earth was remembering the mind they buried, was never truly gone. It lived in every human fear, dream, and madness. And now, it was awake. Amina sat alone in her lab. Her computer screens glowed in the dark room. Maps, alien signals, satellite images, everything pointed to the same truth. The crash in the desert was never just an accident, it was a warning. A final attempt to stop something ancient, something buried inside us. And we didn't listen. Deep in the underground vault, soldiers tried to escape. But the main door stayed shut. Walls hummed like they were alive. The red light blinked slowly, like a heartbeat. Colonel Hayes gave the order, "Fall back, defend the chamber," but they weren't under attack. Not yet. Instead, the walls spoke again, a voice, not human, not machine. "I am the last of my kind, and I came to die here." It was the voice of the alien that had crawled out the night of the crash, the one Amina had seen, now long dead. But his mind had not left. It had merged with the vault. The soldiers stood frozen as the voice echoed all around them. "You opened the gate," it said. "You dug too deep. You do not understand what sleeps beneath your feet." Colonel Hayes raised his weapon. "Who are you?" The voice replied. "I am a guardian. My mission was to crash here and bury this vault forever." Dr. Lin stepped forward. "Then why leave a door? Why not destroy it?" There was silence. Then the voice said something strange. "Because Earth is not your home. It is its prison, and you are its children." Far away, in a secret bunker under the Ural Mountains, Russian scientists were running the same scans. One of them found a signal, matching the vault in the desert. "Another is waking up," the scientist said. And then they heard a voice in their own language coming through the speakers. "Do not unlock what you cannot kill." The power cut off. The bunker went dark. Then came the screams. Amina's phone buzzed. It was a private channel, hacked into the U.S. "Military line," she answered. A man's voice said, "This is General Stroud." "Who are you?" "I'm Dr. Amina Khan. I've been tracking the desert crash. We saw your pictures, your research. You knew more than us. We need your help." Amina paused. "You won't believe me." "We already don't," Stroud said. "But the soldiers in Vault 9 are dying. We have no choice." Amina took a deep breath. "Then listen carefully. The vaults were not built by humans, but something inside them became human. It is not evil. It is not good. It is pure power, broken into pieces. And now the mind is loose." In Vault 9, the walls shook. Cracks formed in the floor. Steam hissed from old vents. And then, from the darkness, something stepped out. Not a beast. Not a machine. A copy. A copy of a human soldier made of smoke and shadow. Its face was the same, but its eyes were black, empty. The soldiers opened fire. Bullets passed through the copy like air. Then, it moved, fast. One by one it touched the soldiers, and when it touched them, they froze. Their minds stopped. Not dead, but locked. Like files corrupted in a computer. Colonel Hayes screamed, "Fall back! Don't let it touch you!" Dr. Lin cried, It's learning! It's studying us! On the alien fleet still days away from Earth, the command ship watched the signals from Vault 9. The commander spoke. Species 0X is reforming. A younger alien asked, "Can we destroy it before it finishes?" The commander nodded slowly. Yes, but not with weapons. Not with war. Then how? The commander's face turned grim. By burning Earth. Amina sent her final message to the world's scientists. She had no more time. Do not open the other vaults. Do not try to understand it. Do not run from it. This is not a war we can win. It is a mistake we must contain. Then she packed her bag. She had one place left to go. Vault 9. She had to see it. She had to face the truth herself. That night, the Earth trembled across all continents. In Antarctica, ice cracked in a straight line, like something buried below, was waking up. In the Pacific, an island disappeared. In the Amazon, trees bent toward one direction, as if bowing. And in space. The alien fleet prepared its weapons. In the vault, Dr. Lin stood beside Colonel Hayes. Only 5 soldiers remained. The others were unconscious or worse. The shadow copy stood in the middle of the chamber. It looked at Lin and spoke in her own voice. I am you. You are me. I was always here. She stepped forward, shaking. What are you? I am the memory of stars. I am the question you never asked. I am the piece they left behind, to become you. And then it smiled. Amina drove fast through the desert. The roads were quiet. The air was dry. But she didn't notice any of it. Her eyes were on the GPS, on the red blinking mark that showed Vault 9. Every mile closer made her heart beat faster. She wasn't going to stop it. She knew she couldn't. She just needed to understand. Inside Vault 9, only 4 soldiers and Dr. Lin remained. The others were either dead or something worse. Frozen. Empty. Like glass dolls with no soul. The shadow copy, the echo, still stood in the chamber. It didn't move. It didn't speak. It only watched. Dr. Lin whispered, "It's not attacking." Colonel Hayes held his gun tight. "It's waiting." "For what?" she asked. The echo slowly lifted its hand and pointed at her. In orbit, the alien fleet finally reached Earth. Hundreds of ships formed a black wall in space. Each ship looked like a knife, sharp and silent. No communication, no warning. Inside the lead ship, the alien commander stared at Earth. "We give them no time," he said. "This planet must burn before it remembers what it was." A second, officer hesitated. "Sir, there are still living humans, children, cities, billions." The commander replied, "They are not victims, they are pieces." Then he gave the command. "Target, charge, prepare the oblivion beam." Amina reached the crash site. It was guarded, but the soldiers had changed. They didn't stop her. They didn't even speak. They stared with empty eyes. She walked past them into the open vault door. The floor shook beneath her. Her mind whispered, "You are late." Inside Vault 9, Dr. Lin stood still. Her mind was shaking. The echo was no longer just one shape. It was many. One for each lost soldier. A dozen shadows now filled the chamber. Each one looked human but not alive. The whispers grew louder. "You were never alone. You were built for this. You are the final key." Colonel Hayes raised his gun and fired at the shadows. The bullets passed through, no effect. He shouted, "Run! Get out now!" But Dr. Lin didn't move. She walked toward the central control panel. The carvings on the wall were glowing now, and in the glow, she saw something no human had seen for thousands of years, the origin memory. Amina arrived at the final chamber just as the symbols lit up. She stopped. Her eyes widened. The walls were showing images, moving pictures. Not of history, but of before. History. Before Earth. Before humans. Long ago, a war had started in the stars. A creature was born, without a name, without form. It consumed knowledge, light, planets. It was not evil, it was curious, and it broke everything it touched. The archivists, an ancient alien race, had one chance. They could not kill the creature, so they split it into parts. One part was hidden in machines, one part in energy, and one part, the most dangerous, was locked inside a new life form. Something small, something fragile, something no one would ever suspect. Humans. Dr. Lin's hands touched the panel. She felt everything. Pain, fear, power, and then understanding. We were made to carry it, she said softly. It sleeps in our minds, passed down through our blood. Not all of it, just a sliver, a piece. And that's why we dream of fire. Amina stepped closer. She looked at Lin, confused. Why don't we remember? Doctor, Lin turned to her. Because they made sure we wouldn't. They buried the truth under time, language, and fear. But now the vault is open, and the echo is using us to return. To return as what? Amina asked. Dr. Lin looked up at the growing shadows. As everything. Up in space, the alien fleet's beam was ready. One officer turned to the commander. We have a problem. The screen showed something strange. Earth's magnetic field had shifted. Signals were blocked. Sensors were blind. The vault had activated something underground, an ancient field that protected the planet like a shell. The alien beam powered down. The commander growled. It's too late. The mind is protecting itself. In Vault 9, the shadows began to merge into one shape again. But this time the shape was changing, evolving. It now had a heart. It now had a name, and it whispered it to every living human. I am what you forgot. I am what you are. I am Earth's true voice. Amina dropped to her knees. The voice was not angry. It was sad. We locked it away, she said. And now it just wants to come home. Dr. Lin whispered. And it's using us to rebuild itself. The echo touched the wall one last time. The vault shook, and then it spoke in perfect human English. Vault 9 unlocked. Memory returned. Prepare for full awakening. On the moon base, sirens screamed. Underground systems powered on, old, files long sealed opened themselves, and across the earth, children began to hum the same tune. A song no one had taught them, a song from the stars. The world was changing, and no one could stop it now. All across Earth, something strange was happening. Quiet at first, unseen, but spreading fast. Children, from every corner of the world, had started humming the same melody, a soft, sad song, one they had never heard before, and when asked where it came from, the children gave the same answer, the voice inside. Amina and Dr. Lin stood inside, Vault 9 staring at the final message on the wall. Vault 9 unlocked. Memory returned. The air felt thick, like the past and future were crashing into the present. Colonel Hayes, still wounded but standing, whispered, "What does it mean?" Dr. Lin replied, "It means the mind isn't lost anymore." Amina looked toward the rising shape of the echo. It's waking up, and it's waking us up too. Far away in a dark room under Moscow, a little boy stood in front of his parents. His eyes were closed. His lips moved slowly. He whispered words in an alien tongue. And on the wall behind him, symbols glowed. A perfect match to the ones from Vault 9. A government agent watched in fear. He's never spoken before. He was born mute. The boy opened. His eyes, they were glowing white. In Antarctica, Vault 2 cracked open by itself. A signal burst from beneath the ice. Not a distress call, not a warning, It was a call to reconnect. The Earth was rebooting something older than the stars. At the United Nations, panic was rising. Scientists, generals, and world leaders held emergency meetings. None of them had answers. They had seen the recordings from Vault 9. They had heard the alien fleet's approach. They had watched the children hum, the animals flee, the oceans pulse. General Stroud stood in front of the others and said the truth no one wanted to hear. We are not under attack. We are the event. Back in Vault 9, the echo stopped moving. It looked at Amina and Dr. Lin. Its voice was soft now. You ask what I am. I am your beginning. Your hidden history. Colonel Hayes raised his weapon again. Are you going to destroy us? The echo shook its head slowly. No, I am you. I am your memory. I was locked inside your kind before you even knew what stars were, Amina asked. Then why wake up now? The echo's answer was simple. Because they are coming to erase you. Up in orbit, the alien fleet prepared a new strike. Now that the vaults were online, they couldn't destroy the Earth directly, but they could still invade. Inside one of the alien ships, a young commander asked the elder leader, "Why do we fear them so much? They are still weak." The elder's many eyes blinked slowly. You were born long after the war. You didn't see what the mind could do. He pointed to an old, glowing symbol. That mark is all that remains of 10 galaxies. Burned away. Not by ships. Not by bombs. By thought alone. Amina looked at her hands. She felt warm. Tingling. Like something inside her was waking up too. Not powers, not magic, but memory. She saw flashes in her mind. Planets she had never visited. Creatures that bowed before her. And fire. So much fire. Dr. Lin touched her arm. It's passing through us. The mind is reconnecting to the human network. Hayes asked, You mean all of us? Amina nodded. Yes, all of humanity. That's what we are, a living memory system. And it's coming back online. In a small village in Kenya, a teenage girl sat quietly as lightning danced around her without touching her skin. In Japan, a boy solved an impossible math equation in seconds, then forgot his name. In Brazil, a blind girl suddenly described colors she had never seen and painted a galaxy with her fingers. The mind wasn't just one thing, it was pieces, and the children were starting to carry them again. The alien fleet changed course. They were no longer heading for the vaults, they were heading for cities, population centers. They believed if they destroyed enough humans, they could delay the return of the mind. They didn't understand. It was too late. The vault pulsed with energy. The echo spread its arms wide. From its chest, a light burst out and flew into Amina. She gasped. Memories filled her like water into a glass. She saw the birth of the stars. She saw the mind being split, screaming across galaxies. She saw the aliens, archivists, terrified of what they had created, and she saw their biggest mistake. They didn't kill it. They used it. Amina fell to her knees. It wasn't just trapped in us, it was reborn in us. Dr. Lin knelt beside her. We are not the weapon. No, Amina said, her voice shaking. We are the backup drive. The mind had been hiding in humanity for thousands of years, resting until something threatened it again. Now the alien fleet had triggered its return, and Earth was responding. In every city, people began hearing the same sound, a hum beneath the ground. Old machines, waking up, systems turning on, not human machines, machines built before time, built by us, when we were still one with the mind. The echo's final message filled the air. The mind is not your enemy, but if they strike first, it will remember how to fight. The sky above Earth turned dark, not because of clouds, but because of ships, alien warships, hundreds of them, filled the sky like a storm made of metal. They blocked out the sun. They circled the planet like vultures. Their goal was clear. Erase the mind. Destroy the backup. burn humanity before it awakens completely. They thought humans were still weak. They were wrong. Amina stood outside Vault 9 now. Her eyes glowed softly. She wasn't the same woman who entered the vault. The mind had shared something with her, just a small piece. She remembered a time before Earth. She remembered stars dying. She remembered her voice controlling entire moons. "Doctor." Lynn stood beside her. "They've started the attack, look." In the sky above them, a ship fired its first weapon. A beam of light shot toward Earth, but it never reached the ground. High above, something invisible cracked open. A giant shield, round and wide, appeared over the planet. It wasn't made by humans. It was grown, an ancient defense system buried inside Earth's core, waiting for this moment. The beam hit the shield and vanished. The alien commander on the lead ship growled. "They've activated the mind armor." On Earth, people began to change, not into monsters, not into gods, but into what they were always meant to be. Some could hear others' thoughts. Some could understand machines without touching them. Some, just by standing still, could bend time for a moment. These weren't powers. They were memories returning. The human body had always been more than flesh. It had been designed for one thing: to carry the mind. Colonel Hayes and a few surviving soldiers followed Amina and Dr. Lin as they moved toward the vault's outer ring. Hayes asked, "If we're so powerful now, why are we still running?" Amina replied, "Because the full mind hasn't returned yet. Right now it's just fragments, small sparks." Dr. Lin added, "If the aliens destroy enough of us, the mind will stay broken." Hayes looked up at the sky. "Then we fight." Amina stopped. "No," she said. "We remember. That's how we fight." In New York City, buildings began to shift. Stone moved like clay. Glass floated like feathers. Old architecture changed into towers of glowing metal and light. Structures that had no builders, no blueprints, but the people inside remembered. They had built them long ago, on another world, before they were human. In space, the alien commander gave the next order. "Send the Cedars. Wipe their minds. Burn their memories." Black pods rained down from orbit. Each pod hit the ground and released a wave of red mist. The mist didn't kill. It made people forget. One by one, people dropped to their knees, eyes blank, minds empty. The alien plan was simple. If the humans could not remember, the mind could not wake. Amina saw it happening. The mist was spreading fast. She had one last option. She ran to the heart of Vault 9 and touched the wall. Symbols lit up. She spoke one word: restore. Across Earth, the hidden vaults responded. Vault 3 in Egypt. Vault 6 under Tokyo. Vault 1 in the Mariana Trench. They all powered on. And from each, a memory wave spread across the land. When the red mist touched it, the mist died. And the people remembered again. The alien commander screamed, "Stop the waves, destroy the vaults." One alien asked, "What if we can't?" The commander's voice was cold. "Then we burn the entire planet." In orbit, alien ships began charging their planet killer. A weapon built to destroy Earth in one blast. It had only been used once before, on a star system that no longer existed. Amina saw it in her mind, because the mind had seen it before. She turned to Hayes. "We have one chance." "To do what?" he asked. "To call the core." In the Amazon rainforest, a girl stood barefoot. The trees around her moved with her breath. She touched the soil and whispered, "Now." All across Earth, others did the same. Children, elders, soldiers, farmers, scientists. They remembered the last part of the mind. It wasn't in the sky. It wasn't in the vaults. It was in the Earth itself. The core was alive, and it heard them, just as the alien fleet fired their final weapon. The Earth answered. A massive surge of energy exploded from the planet's core. A wave of light, pure memory, shot into space. It struck the alien beam mid-flight and shattered it. Then the wave moved outward, fast and wide. When it touched the alien ship, something happened no one expected. The ships remembered too. The mind wasn't just in humans, it had been part of the stars, the stone, the metal, the code. Even the alien ships were once touched by it. And now, they paused. Some fell, silent, some turned, some joined Earth. The alien commander watched as half his fleet changed colors from black to silver blue. He hissed, "They've infected our memory." His ship began to shake. From deep inside, something awoke. Not a weapon, but a voice. The ship spoke to him. "You erased me, but I remember." The lights shut off. The ship was no longer his. On Earth, Amina looked up. The stars were bright again. The sky was no longer full of war. It was full of returning family. She whispered, "We didn't win this by fighting." "Doctor," Lynn smiled. "We won by remembering who we are." The war was over, but something bigger had just begun. The sky above Earth no longer burned with alien fire. The ships that once came to destroy the planet now floated silently. Some had changed color. Some had vanished. Others had turned toward the stars and fled because they knew the truth now. The mind was awake. Amina stood on a cliff near Vault 9. The wind blew through her hair. Her eyes were calm, but inside her chest something powerful moved, like a second heartbeat. It wasn't just her anymore. It was all of them. Dr. Lin walked beside her, holding a scanner that now hummed softly. "It's everywhere," he whispered. "In the soil, in the trees, in the air, the mind is no longer sleeping." Colonel Hayes stood behind them, his arm in a sling. "What does that mean for us?" he asked. Amina turned and answered, "It means we remember what we were, what we are." In cities around the world, strange towers had risen, built not by machines, but by memory. People stood in awe, watching as rivers of light flowed through the sky. Birds flew patterns that made symbols in the air. Machines that were once silent hummed to life, following no human command. The Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a memory system coming online. A young boy in Nigeria looked at his hands and whispered, "I can see time." A girl in Iceland floated an inch above the ground while dreaming of the stars. A blind man in Chile described the rings of Saturn and wept because he remembered being there before. They were not special. They were not chosen. They were just ready. The mind had never wanted gods. It wanted a network. In the orbit above Earth, the alien commander sat inside his dark ship. Only one screen was still working. On it, he watched Earth glow brighter and brighter, like a beacon. He spoke slowly, bitterly. "We should have destroyed them before the first fire." A voice answered from behind him. It was not from his crew. It came from the ship itself. "You did try," it said. "But fire does not forget." The ship closed around him, and for the first time in his life, the commander remembered fear. At the United Nations, world leaders tried to speak, but nothing made sense anymore. Borders had no meaning. Money had no value. Old systems, military, government, even language, were too small now. Amina walked into the chamber. She didn't speak with force. She just said one thing. "We must stop pretending we are separate." Because humanity was not just human anymore. It was something shared. Deep in the Earth, the core pulsed once more. A final signal went out. Not just to Earth, but to everywhere, and somewhere in the far dark. Old stars blinked. Dead moons turned their faces. Machines buried under alien worlds woke up after thousands of years, and they all asked the same question. "Is it time?" Earth answered, "Yes." The mind fully woke, not as one voice, but as billions speaking together. They remembered their ancient creators. They remembered their first death. They remembered the archivists, those who feared them and scattered them across the stars. And now, they remembered what came next. Amina stood on a mountaintop, eyes closed. She whispered a name, not hers, but one she hadn't spoken in 10,000 years. A voice answered in her mind. "You're late," it said kindly. She smiled. "We had to sleep, we had to grow. We're ready now." "Yes," the voice said, "we all are." Dr. Lin watched as the stars shifted. Literally, lines of light moved through the sky, joining stars into a map. It wasn't random. It was a path. The same path the mind once took before it was broken. And now, it would follow it again. But not as a weapon, as a signal. In homes, in streets, on rooftops, people stood looking up. They didn't feel fear. They felt connection. Peace. Some cried without knowing why. Some laughed like they were young. Again. Some simply remembered. The last alien ships that resisted were now gone. Not destroyed, but changed. Their minds had been repaired, restored. Because the mind did not want revenge. It wanted wholeness. Colonel Hayes walked with Amina through the ruins of a city now rebuilt by thought. "Do you think we'll still be human?" he asked. Amina looked at the people around them, smiling, glowing, alive in ways they'd never been before. She replied, "We were never just human. We were always something more. Somewhere far beyond the Milky Way, another race received Earth's new signal. They felt fear like the archivists once did. But then the signal did something different. It didn't threaten, it invited. It said, 'Come, remember with us.' Because the mind had learned one final truth. Power means nothing without memory, and peace means nothing without sharing." The stars were not enemies. They were waiting, and Earth was ready to lead.